Hi. How folks doing tonight? I mean, I have a feeling a little at least a little bit. I've been at work. I started work late today, so that's why I got off work late today. so so I know stuff has been happening while I've been at work. So let me see what the chat is saying so far. Hi, Nikki570. Hi, Loanne265. Miss you today and yesterday, Coco. Yeah, it's been really busy. Yeah, it's been really busy. I mean, because I'm back to work, right? So I hadn't been to work for a really long time because of Chad's death and all that stuff. So, um, this is the first week that I'm working a full week in quite a while. Joelcy42 said, ha ha ha, because, what I said about, probably what's been going on. Spooky Halloween Lady said, hi, it's been a doozy. Joelzy42 said, had to jump on for your happy laugh. Shelly Garcia said, hello all. Lindsay said, are you feeling better? Kind of. I feel like I still have all that, like, stuffiness and the ear thing. But I do feel better in a lot of ways. So I just think I'm not 100. Hi, Kim Walton. MEISE26 says, I've been waiting, your perspective. Okay. I haven't had a chance to sit much. I've only seen, well, actually I saw more photos after the fact. The first one I saw was from Desiree. And then, because I'm not a supporter of that particular publication. So I'm just thankful when other people that I don't mind supporting or I prefer to support, shows it to me. So I don't have to go and give that particular venue any clicks. Flossom, Shrods, I'm guessing, he says, hey, 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 hey. Oh, Philly M, you with the eyes. You're here on time, so you don't even have to ask me, how long I've been here, because you're right here. Ida Pita said, I miss your AM lives. I've wanted to hear from you all day. Hey, I thought you're heading off to a movie or something, right? Hi, Karen T. Hi, Karina03. Oh, I guess you still did ask the question, Philly. Hey, yo, how long y'all been here? You were on time, Philly M. So I haven't been here. Yeah. Oh, y'all just got here. LOL. Yep. We just got here. Okay, so that's what I thought, Ida Pita. I thought you were watching Agatha. Okay, BRB, Luke version, possibly. Oh, okay. Flossom Shrods said you pronounced it correctly. Oh, good. Hey, Minnie. Hi, Megan. Hello, CRM8291. Minnie said, just want to say before I go to bed, I'll be glad when they're hit with a cease and desist. Think about the fact that Nicola already stated before that she is not a fan of people filming strangers in public. And yet here we are. Edie said, hi, when did you start? A few minutes before 7. So I haven't said anything. I've been just reading the chats and saying hi to folks that have come on in. Camille said publication is kind for them. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the right term was. But yeah, probably publication is the more neutral term. Oh, it's a name, yeah. Kind name for them. Hi, Abby Matherly 649. Hi, Tanya. Oh, Gossip Rag Minnie. Oh yeah, that's probably the more accurate term. Joel C42 says stalkers. I mean, any sense, anything that's paparazzi, it's kind of, yeah. Michelle.T49, thank you for the gift. Michelle said it's not from last night, too cold for what they were wearing. I will say though that I'm notorious for wearing things that don't match the weather. So I don't know if they're a non-matcher of the weather themselves, and which is a very big possibility. Karen T, thank you for the daily heart me. Edie said, working late and was waiting for you in the party. Wait, what party? What party? Camille said, yes, more accurate. Philly M said, that's quite a mug. Oh, this thing? It's got a chip on it too. But I there probably was a design on this at one point. Or maybe not. Maybe it was always a white cup. A white mug. So it's just water. Because I'm really bad at drinking water when I'm with y'all's. And then my like I get parched. Michelle.T49 said, Doug just posted a green face Jay with a puffy coat tonight. Who is Doug? I don't know who this Doug is. Edie said the Phoebe party sans paradox. We did have a fun time having that conversation. Hello, Elichada. Jen R said, what did I miss? Nothing yet, Jen R. We haven't actually, we haven't dove into it yet. I'm just reading posts for it right now. Michelle.T49 said, sorry, Doug is Jay's friend. Nikki570 said, OMG, I saw that too. Doug's post. Okay, let me reread what Doug's just posted. A green face. What does a green face mean? What does that mean? I mean, as a reminder, like I really do try to stay in my lane, which is Luke and Nicola, anything Luke and Nicola. And so I don't try to look at all of these other things. So I'm lacking context. So I don't know what a green face means. Beekeeper said, hey, Phoebe. Hey, hi. Yeah, Philly M said, we just getting situated. This is true, Philly M. Jen R said, thank you. Tanya said, Doug is another adjacent LOL. And here's the thing, too. And Mackie Rach says, I don't get Doug's post. Here's the thing, too. Nicola's friends have communicated in the past to be not part of this narrative. Like, please don't include us in these things. Please don't put our videos out there. Please don't put our stuff out there. We're not involved in any of this stuff. And so, I mean, I don't know which friends of Nicola had verbalized that already, but I think that's something that Nicola also tries to protect her friends from having to deal with people bringing them into something that like they never signed up to be like there, because they just happen to be her friends, you know? So they're like, can we please be, it's kind of, what was that line from Taylor Swift back in the day when Kanye did something and she's like not wanting to be, like, I didn't ask to be in part of this narrative. I don't know what the line was. Taylor Swift fans might know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the exact quote is. Camille said, Phoebe keeps us rational. I mean, thanks, Camille. Michelle.T49 said, filter on TT. A green face is a filter on TT. Well, what's that? What is it supposed to do? Like, what does a green face, what is it supposed to connotate? Nikki570 also said it's a filter. Jen R said Doug is in their friend group. Cora_corrupted said Doug is a guy Jay hangs with, and the green is a Mike Wazowski filter. Okay, yeah. Even more so, I have no idea what it would mean. Minnie said if it was an intentional post for sure. I'm thinking to show how cold it is there. Oh, okay. So you're feeling like the connotation, Minnie, is that the post. So which is something that somebody said earlier, which is the belief that these photos are old and they are not anything recent. Is that what you're saying? Because the weather doesn't match? Michelle.T49 said green face on TT. It's mostly just to prove that the weather's different than in the pic. Mackie Rach says, so what does the green face mean? Coco said, is the green filter not for wicked promo? I don't know. Yeah. Kathy J with a green filter, but it's him. Jay has longer hair and a puffer jacket for the weather. Okay, so people are coming out with feeling like these photos are old and they're just coming out now. Kat said, I don't think the filter means anything. Cora_corrupted said, just look at the pictures in order and then you will see that she looks rather upset. Upset that her photos are being taken. Monica11851, thank you for the gift. Minnie said, did you see her comment on the TT? I think so. I did not see the original TikTok. but it was something about maybe someone making some assumptions about Nicola taking up space and taking attention away from Kay Anthony, but in reality it was like the passing of the baton. So like it was to promote, like to announce season 3 as season 2 was ending. That one. Cora_corrupted said Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc. Tanya said it just shows that his hair is longer. It's all love. BB said it doesn't mean anything. People are looking too deep into it. Okay, Minnie says yes, ma'am. Okay, that's the one that you were talking about. Yeah, I didn't see the original TikTok, but I did see Nicola's, like I saw it somewhere where Nicola's comment was there, which again is Nicola saying, hey, I'm still aware. I mean, I may not be posting on TikTok right now, but I am aware of the conversations that are happening. Coco said, I think folks dissecting everything about what they post isn't healthy. Not everything is Easter egg. Michelle.T49 said, green face covers his face, but we know it's him. He's wearing a puffer jacket. Edie said, yes, to show or say those are not recent as of 2 nights ago. Okay, so my question though is whether or not it wasn't from yesterday. I mean, can we agree it happened? And so, I mean, what does the timing feel like for y'all's that is coming out now? Okay, let's say hypothetically, the assumptions that it's not recent is true, and they're coming out with these photos now. Is there something, does it change anything for people to feel like the timing is not current? When we have seen something equivalent fairly recently, again, not that Nicola wanted us to, was not a fan of that happening, but it did happen. So I guess that's my question. Michelle.T49 said, I hate the limits in the comments. You mean the length of how long you can type? I hear that. Karen T said, and they said leaves didn't match. LOL. Let's see. Minnie said he posted it right after the post was made. Leah said her hair is long, and I do agree she does not look pleased. I mean, again, don't know necessarily what, like her, I mean, I can't remember all the pictures, nor do I remember what her facial expression was. But I mean, if she noticed that photos were being taken, I'm sure she wasn't thrilled about that. JMDC 220 says she's literally crying in the first photo or looks very much like it. Karen T said, I thought her hair was too short and her hair color a little different. Edie said, yeah, that blew up in her face. Wait, what blew up in her face? Oh, the person who was doing the TikTok. Got it. Faith says, can someone explain to me what happened with the TikTok and Nicola commenting? I think that the person was making some sort of connotation, and people can fact check me on this because again, I didn't watch the original TikTok, but I think she was just making it seem like Nicola was trying to take away attention from Kay Anthony during some sort of presser or promo or something like that, and Nicola was just reminding this person or correcting the person in their assumptions by saying that's actually the passing of baton. Like they were supposed to be part of that whole thing, and it was an honor to be with Simone, you know. Karen said, thank you, Phoebe, for being so rational. Oh, thanks, Karen. Karen T said, as long as she's happy. Miss M said, if you search for London weather, though it doesn't seem that cold, like 50s, 60s for highs. Maria Lola said, they are or were dating, that's it. Minnie says, changes nothing. Leah said, I also kind of thought that she would be on set. Doesn't she stay in a hotel there? Megan said, it doesn't matter. It's pictures of two friends walking down the street holding hands. Now, here's a question I do have for you, Megan. Okay, because see, I'm part of the little bitty baby hand community, right? And all this time I kept saying, because I'm part of the baby hand community, we don't interlock typically because it takes a lot of work with people with bigger hands. And literally multiple pictures of that, they were interlocking fingers. And that takes effort. I'm telling you right now. And I love my friends, but I'm not interlocking fingers with them simply because, one, it takes too much effort. And two, it just feels more intimate than just like I will hold hands with friends like this, But I won't hold hands with friends like this, typically, especially if they've gotten way bigger hands than me. Now, I was really surprised she was able to do it with her. I mean, I was like, maybe she's not part of the baby hand community. I thought she was baby hand community. Or maybe his hands are smaller than I thought they were. But, like, they were definitely interlocked, which to me feels more than friends. Because, I mean, how many of us like interlock fingers with our friends? I mean, I guess some people might. I just don't. Tanya said, I don't know. I'm still sad. I'm an endgamer. LOL. Samesies, Tanya. I think this is why it doesn't rock my boat too much. Because I'm like, whether she's in or not, in a current relationship or not, that doesn't change my endgame status. Because endgame literally means people will date and people will do whatever. But in the end of the day, like, if they want to be, they can be endgame. Yeah, but they have, choices to make. Megan said nothing we haven't seen before. That is a true statement, Megan. There is definitely nothing we haven't seen before. Camille said, don't know what to think. Mackie Rach says either they were dating if it's from the past or they are now. Lynn says they are dating and that's fine. Everyone needs to live with it and love that Nicola seems happy. Flossom Shrod says, honestly, this changes nothing for me. I knew Nicola wasn't happening right now. I'm in it for Endgame. Coco said, we can believe in Endgame and still respect reality for what it is. Both L and N are taken right now. It's all love. BB said, yeah, I wouldn't be happy if people popped out and started taking pics of me. I feel for her. Minnie said, IDK, I still only see friends. Edie said, I'm just thinking if these pics were pre-NYC, then the song he posted from the Cardigans would make, and it stopped. I'm guessing you were going to say makes sense. Minnie said, so imagine how much she actually sees. 100%. She definitely sees more than I think we're realizing. Lynn says you can tell the difference in the way she holds his hand and the way she holds others' hands. Elichada said 50 to 60 is cold for me. Lynn says intertwined versus cupped. Edie said not just two friends, those intertwined fingers. Maria Lola said if she was walking down the street like that with Luke, we would be saying it's a launch. So let's be real. Maria Lola, very true. It's a very true statement. If we saw her walking with Luke with interlocked fingers, we would definitely be like, woohoo! Karen, thank you for the gift. But, there's a lot, it's like when it's not Luke, it's like there's all these excuses why not to read into it. But if it was ever Luke, it would take very minimal to make people rejoice. Carla said they are daring y'all, or maybe darling. Maybe you were saying darling here, but it says daring. They are daring y'all. It's going to be okay though. I'm guessing darling though. Edie said exactly. It's more intimate. Oh, dating. You were saying dating. Okay, got it. See, I'm bad at guessing what the word would have been, but dating. Okay. Courtney said, do we think the photos are old? There are some folks that are believing it's not from any time recent. And my point was like the photos are still the photos, whether it was a few days ago or longer ago. Miss M said her hand is pretty low on his backside. I noticed that too. If a friend did that, I'd be wondering what we were. I hear that too. Again, if her hand was placed on Luke's I was going to say if her hand was placed that low on Luke, but then I was like, but actually it was kind of that low in Brazil in that one video. But, I mean, not as low as that one. But I was really surprised at the hand placement in Brazil. Megan says she's affectionate with her friends. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, possibly. I mean, she definitely is affectionate with her friends. And maybe there are other pictures of her intertwining fingers with other friends and walking with them. I just haven't personally seen it. But that doesn't mean that because I haven't seen it, it hasn't happened. I hate it when people think that something hasn't happened because they haven't seen it themselves. Like, I recognize that just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. So that might be true. Ella Chada said younger generations interlock with friends, just an observation from working with teens. I hear that, Ella Chada. They're not teenagers. Well, I guess, I mean, he's not a teenager, but he's in his, I'm just saying that I don't know if the same mindset works necessarily. I mean, but he is 24, so I don't know. But she's not. So I don't think it works the same way, even though the younger generation may not think much of interlocking fingers. I think older generations do, and she is part of an older generation. Minnie says, so you mean to tell me they got all those pics and not one kiss happened? Meh, it's sus. LOL. I mean, I'm telling you, Minnie, if they caught a kiss, people would try to explain it away anyway. They'd be like, she tripped. That's why, and she tripped, and her mouth landed on his lips. But that's because he's a good friend. He didn't want her face to fall, so he just cushioned it with his lips. You know, I just feel like if it's one of those things that if people don't want to see anything in it, they will never see anything in it. And the thing is, it might not be anything. I mean, that option is definitely there. You know, so so Minnie, I see that you're trying to get on here. So I do want to go through the comments. So, but I will accept it. I do want to get through people's comments though too. If you don't,
Oh no, you're perfectly fine. You're perfectly
okay.
fine. I just wanted to. That was hilarious, and I just wanted you to know that that was hilarious. That's all I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is all I wanted. That was hilarious.
Because no, Minnie, I
So
mean it
continue
though. I
reading the
feel like
comments.
I feel like
Yeah,
people are not if
absolutely.
people are not ready for it, you know, because it's hard. It is hard
Yeah,
to see something, you
yeah,
know. But I'm like, if we consider the opposite, if we said this was Luke, we know that we
right,
would need less evidence than they've
right,
been providing us for Jake.
right.
So
Yeah,
it's just an honest
yeah,
observation.
yeah, absolutely. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to bed. I did the
Oh,
love
okay.
announcements today. I'm going to bed, but y'all have a good night.
Okay, thanks, Minnie. All right, bye.
Hey.
Do you need me to disconnect you, or do you want to do it, or I don't know how. Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay. So Kim Walton said, agreed, Phoebe. Edie said, in interviews, she says hand holding is love. That's what I'm saying. In interviews, she said that. And also, um, not only did she say that in interviews, in the interview, but she said while walking. Now, I know that some folks feel like that's a misrepresentation of that answer. And I don't know how else to like say like that's what she said. So I mean, obviously she can hold hands with people and it doesn't have to mean love. But I mean in a romantic sense though. That's what she put the connotation as. But I mean again, I don't know. Sandra Koning, sorry, said Endgame. Lynn says they aren't teens. Megan said she's been seen holding hands and interlocking fingers with other friends too. So that's what I'm saying. Like I hadn't seen it, but if you've seen it, Megan, then I mean, then I stand corrected. Shelly says, agree, it looks like a relationship. It's fine. Bev says, it would help if we knew if these pics were pre and why. How cold was it last night in London? 40. Bev, I mean, some people feel like it wasn't from last night. Like some people feel like it might be in older photos. I mean, I guess that's why I had asked folks, like, if it was older, what does it matter? Like, I mean, how would it change how people perceive the photos? Edie said, would make sense. Kathy said, I think they might be or were in a relationship. Something doesn't add up. Weird match to me. As I'll love BB said, as long as she's happy, safe, and supported 100%. Karen says her hair is very long in the pics, thinking her hair had been shorter to wear wigs during Bridgerton. Dog Mom said, Ange thoughts? Ange? Or were you saying any thoughts? I'm not sure what you're saying there, Dog Mom. Isadora Cruz said, yo, see the history and Instagram of his friend Douglas. Maybe the photos are not from yesterday. Karen T said, I have a permanent cabin on the ship. Yeah. Flossom Shrod said, this whole situation reminds me of Luke saying in an interview that Paulin is like Ross and Rachel. Oh, yeah. But I've never thought it was Paulin, right? I've always felt like it matched Lucala's story far more than Paulin's did, because when were they missing each other? Like literally, like the minute he knew he felt something for her, as in the Paulin world, right? He up and did something. It's more so in their Lucala world where they were way more like Ross and Rachel. Matthew Rach said, if not recent, why wouldn't they have come out at the time they were taken? Dee Dee said, why didn't she mention him in the magazine article? Which magazine article? If you're talking about Elle, it's because, if you're talking about Elle, Dee Dee, you know, L is just a culmination or a accumulation of like quotes from different articles, unless you're talking about a different one. And unfortunately, I don't know if I have any moderators right now. So if you're answering questions below, I'm like 69 new messages behind, so I might not be seeing it. Karen T said, we're here for the end game. Nick UL7224 said, LOL, true, Ross and Rachel, this is just Russ, LOL. Jackie RN said, the hand holding an arm around her shoulder, neck, awkward. Miss M said, if Luke and her were just in the same photo, not even touching, people would do cartwheels. 100%. Elichada said, LOL, I have former students his age. Carmen said, Nick scrubbed many tagged photos of them. Shelly says, that looks like a regular walk around their neighborhood, holding hands. The Greenberg Brigade said, I think it's time to accept it, guys. They are dating. There is a pic where she is kissing his hand. Okay, I have not seen that one yet. And again, the question is, should we even be looking at any of these photos? I mean, that was the whole conversation that ended up happening, right? After the whole thing of her saying, like normalized not filming people in public. And I realized filming could even mean just photos and not, it's just that intrusion, kind of thing. But I know, I recognize people are going to look, and this is why we're even having this conversation. Jackie RN said, my son is really tall, girlfriend short, his arm goes around her waist. C.A. Olson 2 said the leaves are green, not colored for fall. Minnie, when you were originally laughing at what I had said, Lynn said, LOL, she tripped. And folks were laughing at what I had said there. The Greenberg Brigade said, she kissed the back of his hand. That's very intimate in my mind. Maria Andy said, okay, let me translate this. It says, fans always build alternative narrative to explain any photo, only accept LN. I mean, very true, Maria. I think we know that it always takes less evidence, right? It takes less evidence for us to be convinced of something we are already convinced about. It takes far more evidence to convince of us when we disagree with what we think we're seeing. Carla said she tripped. Maria Lola said, exactly. We're just making excuses just not to see it. Dee Dee said, you are right. LOL. Kathy says, you can kiss your friends. N already said. Karen T said, N is kissing his hand. Shelton.Zoo said, didn't she say in the Friends or Lovers interview that holding hands was more lovers? She said that, yeah, like it's a sign of love to be holding hands while walking. 4KNK said Nick is probably tired of hiding and doesn't give, she doesn't care anymore what anyone thinks. Tam Spin said, I don't want it to be true, but I admit it sure looks like they're together. Tanya said, I'm going to hop off here. My mind isn't in the right place. Night. Sorry, Tanya. Karen T said, just a little bump in the road. Edie said, my teen said, no interlocking hands with male friends. Hand holding, yes. Okay. So they still do differentiate sometimes. The Greenbird Brigade said just the fact that we have seen so many pics of them touching, they are obviously something. C.A. Olson too said it doesn't. The Greenbird Brigade said I think they look kind of cute in the pics, to be honest, as long as she is happy. H. Manley said to me, Nick looks sad and friend consoling her. Stephanie said, do we know when the pictures are from? Stephanie, I have no clue. Some folks just don't believe it's anything recent. Edie said no. R&R is Luke and Nick, 100%. I mean, at least for me, Ross and Rachel really are Luke and Nick, not Pollen. It's never made sense for Pollen. None of it has ever made sense for Pollen. To say Ross and Rachel. Sammy said I contacted my Splash News. The photos are new. Is Splash News? What is Splash News, Sammy? Edie said the Time Magazine. Oh, the Time Magazine. Okay, got it. Okay, Annie Hampson. Time Magazine marriage comment. Okay. Edie said, Time Magazine where she says people want her to marry Luke. Yeah. Hello, Linnell Grover. GMYL, let me translate what you're saying here. You said they are a couple, absolutely, and will last as long as they have to last. It's Nick's turn now. Shelly says she wouldn't. I wish I remembered what that meant. Lizzie said, I think they are dating. Megan said she looks like she's trying to get that hat on her head with her hand. She's not kissing his hand. Kim Walton said, I think people have to be open to her being in a relationship with someone else. Karina03 said, where do you see she kissed his something? H. Manley said she didn't kiss the hand. Karina03 said, kissed his hand. You zoomed in. She isn't kissing his hand. Philly M said, confirmation bias. TM said, of course they are dating. Carla said, Splash is who took the pics. Okay, now I'm at the bottom. Okay, so I don't know where people are at right now. Because here's the thing. I think that whenever things like this happen, a lot of folks need to just make decisions for themselves to disengage. If folks are very committed, so there's different levels of Nicola shipping, right? So my version of Nicola shipping is Endgame. And an Endgame Nicola shipper means people can date, people can do all these different things. It doesn't change what I think will be the end result, if they want it to be the end result. Again, because I do respect their autonomy as completely adult human beings to make a decision who they want to be with. However, there are other elements of other segments of Nicola shippers where this might be very hard, because it might not just be Endgame shippers. It might be the belief that they are together, or they want them to be together now. And if they're not together now, that it says something about not ever being together, or I don't know. So I think this might be very hard for some folks to settle in their gut, settle in their hearts and their minds. And Annie Ham said, confused by all the Easter eggs lately for L&N, would be more chill and accepting if I hadn't. And then it cuts off. Sorry about that, Annie Ham. I'll just wait to see what you say, what the rest of the statement is. So I understand, if you hadn't seen those. And the difficult part, Annie Ham, is that the concept of Easter eggs is that it's up for interpretation. So sometimes people read Easter eggs into situations that are not Easter eggs at all. So, and then it creates this narrative. And sometimes it's hard because we see what we're looking for. And so, Edie said, okay, so I just realized I'm not an endgamer. I don't know what I am anymore. Edie, that's okay. Philly M said, were they Easter eggs? That's the question, Philly M, right? So sometimes, Edie said confirmation bias. And yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. I think that when we really get committed to a particular narrative, it is very, very hard. It is very, very hard to consider something else. And people might not be able to, there's a lot of actual work people need to get to be able to be open to that. possibility, especially if you've like committed to like saying that this has to be it, there can't be any possibility of being wrong on this. That's a harder like fall, right? I think for Endgame Lucas shippers, that fall isn't as hard for us to see these potential relationships that could be happening. It's not as hurtful because we don't think that that's the end of the story. We don't feel like we're at the end of the book. We feel like we're hitting like the conflict portion of the book where it just gets hard for a little bit before it gets resolved into the end game portion. But if people feel like this is the end of the book for them, or this is the end of the story for them, it is going to be very hard to sit with this information. Carla said with kindness, some see Easter eggs. I just see people posting pics or images. Shelly says, okay, lovelies, I'm not fazed by these pics. Going back to my fanfics. K-Pet said the crumbs, they felt like crumbs. I feel like the cake fell on the floor and a dog just ate it. Cecilia said, is there a new PC? Oh, maybe new pic. Since the one about the hoodie. Yes, Cecilia. Photos have come out of Nicola with JD. Maria Lola said, I mean, I would love Ellen and together, but it's their lives. This doesn't affect our real life. Maria Lola said, some of us are just obsessed. And I mean, and the thing is, I think it's because people have, like, again, as a reminder, when a lot of folks got on this whole ride, in a lot of ways, was during a world tour. So people were fed with information constantly. Then it went through a complete drought of like not hearing anything. So I think in the droughtness of things, people wanted to find things where there may or may not have been things to find, you know. Maybe there were, maybe there weren't. It's so hard. I mean, I can never say something definitively because I don't actually know anybody's motivations. We all just tend to lean one way or the other. 4K NK said it is a pause. Shelly said not the end. Season 4 filming continue. Kathy said I do feel like there were many Easter eggs from all around though. Very confusing. Still Endgame. Cecilia said, oh, okay. So let me see what this one is from Isis. Isis Carolina Makopi. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Says it's clearly a couple dating on a London night. It's time to accept. Kayla G415 said it is what it is. I'm watching Tom Daya videos and checking up on Andrew and Amelia. And I will say this too, talking about Tom Daya, right? As a reminder, Tom dated an individual for like a year. Even they were even living with each other, I think, partly because of the pandemic, right? And at that time, those who were Tom Daya shippers probably were like, oh my word. Like if somebody's been dating somebody for a year and they're even living together, there's no chance for Zendaya, like the Tom Daya to happen anymore, right? There's some that could have jumped ship at that point, but they didn't because they knew that what they had witnessed. And then in due time, Tom Daya did come to be. And so and they both dated several different people at different times. So you just never know. Shelly said we were all in the relationship. Rose_Teresa66 said, I thought this would happen regarding Paps. I wonder what she will be advised to do. Hello there, yo, dash chef. Elichade said, yeah, I still think they are endgame. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I still have to be a functioning adult. Yes. K-Pet said, after the second round of Pap photos, she should just say they are together. Kathy says, I know they don't owe us anything and deserve privacy. Wish they could confirm and stop this. Isabi said, I'm feeling upset, then a little angry, then back to upset. Sue said, I still wonder where her security is. She's an A-lister now. Her agency needs to get on this. And well, the thing is too, Sue, I've always been told that London is a lot more kind, or at least Europe is a lot more kind to not having as much of an invasion of privacy. So she may not have felt like she needed it back at home, where it's not as much scrutiny as if she was in New York City. Carla said also that's not what agents do. That's good to know. I don't actually know what agents do. So, I recognize that Isabi says yes since Princess Di. Yeah, so I mean, I recognize that there are a lot of emotions going on for folks. Ella Chada said agrees she needs to hire security. Kathy said feel bad for Luke. There's a double standard here. He never deserved all the hate. Needs an apology. I mean, it was never fair to Luke. There was a lot of pieces of why it was like the perfect storm for Luke. And when I say perfect, I don't mean like a good perfect, meaning like all things that could go wrong did go wrong at the same time that piled it on for Luke, and he never deserved it. I agree personally. Some people may disagree with that, but I just personally never felt like Luke deserved what he received based off of his own choices. But it was the perfect storm that had a lot to do with the release of Papgate on the day of the premiere, and then his assumed girlfriend not having like the best, I guess, real engagement with the fan base. So instead of endearing herself to the fan base, she had the tendency to find ways to agitate. And I mean, and the thing is, I don't know if she meant to, right? It's just the fan base perceived it to be that way because of how she chose to post things when she chose to post things. Again, that's also a matter of perception or opinion based off of the narratives in people's minds. I felt that way at times, and that's why I ended up blocking her, because I just didn't like the rhythm in which she posted. So there was a lot of reasons, but a lot of the main reasons that Luke got so much of a backlash was outside of himself, which was this travesty, right? Like Luke himself never did anything per se, but the people around him shaped the perception of him and created this backlash that was unfair to Luke, in my opinion. Other people might think otherwise. Carla said they broker deals for their talent. Edie said she doesn't feel the need to confirm her relationship. She's private, but she's a hot topic now. Rose_Teresa66 says Londoners are not bothered, but once a market, the Paps will follow. Edie said with Luke, it was the timing. Nikki said L had bad timing. Kayla G415 said the thing with Luke was because it was literally the day after the premiere, but no, he didn't deserve. Rose_Teresa66 says her PR will advise even if she chooses not to listen. 4K NK said Nick is a big star now and she will get photographed in public a lot more now, right or wrong. Sue said timing was bad, yes, but definitely double standard. I do agree about the double standard. I do think even if the timing wasn't an issue, I still think he would have gotten a harsher... Well, it's so hard to know. Because I think, too, there's different factors that would have affected the backlash on Luke. So it's hard. Because the hard part about this is there's certain things that are like potatoes. I mean, no. Like there's like the same, but there's other aspects of it that's not the same. And I don't know if those aspects that are not the same is the tipping point for why it feels like it's being received differently. But I do feel internally my knee-jerk reaction feels like there's a double standard. Flossom Shrod says, honestly, even if they are dating, I don't see this as long-term thing with both adjacents. And you think Endgame. I'm such an Endgame person. Beth Morrissey 16 said Nicola could have clarified the crumbs because she knew what everyone was thinking. Everyone was thinking Luke. Rose_Teresa 66 being fabulous, Phoebe. Okay, wait, I must have missed it. What you're responding to. Karina03 said, I feel A is toxic, intentionally so. I stand by that. Kathy said, if anything, Luke is the real private one. Never let anyone on with anything denied or confirmed. Never let anyone on with anything denied or confirmed. Maria Lola said it was the poor timing for Luke when this came out basically on premiere part 2. Maria Lola said, but Luke did not deserve the hate for sure. K-Pet said, wouldn't it be wild if L, A, J, and N double date? You know what, K-Pet? You know what would be, what is funny about that sentiment is that people, if people are really committed to not seeing this possibility of them dating anybody else but each other, people will be convinced in that double date that L and N are together and A and J are together. That is what would happen if they were pictured in a double date. They'll be like, they're dating each other, but not not that person. That's how it would come down to. I mean, honestly, no, I say that jokingly, but it feels that way sometimes. Edie said, so we think he's still with A, some people still so. I you know, as I said, I've never really watched their relationship, nor have I had an opinion on it, except that I don't want to care about it. So I genuinely don't know, but I do think that people have said that it's either way. Like I've heard that they think that that they've been broken up since Italy, and there's people that think that they're still together because he still follows her. Though some people don't think that's the case because he followed Jade for a few months before he officially did not. Lynn says, I don't think anyone deserves any hate. I think they are all just humans navigating this new world. 100%, Lynn's. I mean, people are just trying to live. That's what it comes down to. Rose _ Teresa 66 says, being fabulous. Nikki said, I don't think the people they are dating are in the same space as N and L. Philly M said, not AOL. Wait a minute. What am I missing? What about AOL? Kamala Lama said they would double date, but then L and A would date each other. Wait a minute. Not sure what. Wait, isn't the assumption that they are dating? I might be missing it. I'm sorry, Kamala Lama. Philly M said, I didn't even know people still have AOL, still had email addresses. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, did I miss the AOL conversation? I might have scrolled past it. Rose _ Teresa 66 said, funny. Oh, Kamala Lama said, I mean, J and A would date. Okay. That's what I was saying. That's how I think people would perceive it. If they ever saw them on a double date, they'd be like, you know, they were just pretending to date each other, but really, I'm just kidding. But I mean, at the same time, I'm not kidding. I think there would be folks that would be how, you know, some people would perceive it. So again, a matter of perception and a matter of like, it always comes down to what people are willing to consider as a possibility. If people are automatically saying in their head that there is no possibility of this or that, they're never going to see any evidence that says this or that. And sometimes that is meant to self-protect, right? Like when we as people are not ready to accept certain things, we have to kind of create buffers. With that said, no matter what these pictures show, we still don't actually know what it's supposed to tell us. I lean a particular way because of, like, to me, it's like when people see things, right, and they don't know the story, usually the way they fill in the gaps is to go, well, if I was in that situation, or if I have seen other situations, this is how I would read it, yada, yada, yada. That's the only reason why people feel the way that they feel about these photos or these pictures, is because we allow our personal experiences to guide what we think those pictures mean. But in reality, none of us really still know the stories behind it, nor is it our place to really even know what the stories are behind it. Karen said the article in Elle on the 19th of October that both N and L are publicly single. Yes, I still love that statement, publicly single. I think it's hilarious. Kay said these adjacents don't have fully formed frontal cortexes, just saying. Azelle, thank you for the Daily Heart Me. I mean, that is, this is the reason why it's always just been my personal, like, place, like, feeling, right? And I know that other people feel differently because they are of legal age. But to me, yeah, they say that your your frontal cortexes don't fully form until after the age of 25 or 25 after the age of 25, then that's when it happens. I know that a lot of people have different feelings around it because they feel like every person has different experiences, and some folks that are in their early 20s may have more life experience than somebody that's older just because of the life that they've experienced. Now, I don't know if that's true of either Antonia or JD, but it's what people offer as to why, like, that age gap doesn't matter. Like, maybe they've had more life experience, or that would make it equivalent to the experiences that Luke and Nicola have had at their ages. And I'm not a person that really opposes age gaps. It's more so I feel awkward about where it is. So for me, I don't mind an age gap when people are already in their upper 20s, early 30s, or, whatever. But when it's like the folks are anywhere under the age of 25, I just personally don't feel comfortable with it. But at the end of the day, it's their life, and both of everybody's a consenting adult, and it's not my life to live. And just because my preference is to not engage with that kind of an age gap doesn't, like, my choice is my choice. It just dictates how I live. It doesn't dictate how anybody else lives, because they have a different preference or different choices, right? So that's me saying what I'm saying. Just means that that's how I expect me to live. I can't expect anyone else to live by my own code. Unless, of course, they're of the same mindset as me already. Kathy says, reminds me of a song in Spanish that says, Felices los four, all four of us happy. Nikki said, I don't think they are dating. I think he's just a nice person. Edie said, okay, so did everyone see the picture of Luke's medallion with his initials? Maybe. I remember somebody pointing out a medallion, but I don't know if it's the same one. I wasn't paying attention if there was initials or not. YOLO0056 said the PR tour was too much. Never do that again. Philly M said, sorry that I called you out, AOL person. It was a gut reaction. I still don't even know. I still really missed this conversation, Philly M, of this AOL. Edie said, I've never seen that medallion before. Have y'all seen it before? If it's I've seen people bring up a medallion. Hey, zigzag _ elf. Rose _ Teresa 66 says, I believe this is strong evidence, but you are correct about interpretation. Colorado girl said, I mean, come on, the pics are telling. I think this is the relationship she has been giddy about. I mean, that's personally where I lean, Colorado girl. But I do recognize that other folks have different thoughts. But again, it comes down to what people are willing to consider. And sometimes people are not willing to consider that as an option. But I do tend to lean that way. Rose _ Teresa 66, because of the ups and downs, really hard to care. Zigzag _ elf said, professionally single. Oh, I like that too. Professionally single. But I do like also publicly single. Rose _ Teresa 66 says, publicly single was a hilarious phrase. Colorado girl said, do I still want her with Luke? My Delulu says yes, but right person, wrong time. See here. Karen T said agreed. Charlie said I agree. Sue said agreed. Colorado girl said, I think Luke still has growing to do. His action this last year has been all over. Zigzag _ elf said, same. Questions about age gap for me is down to the younger person being really quite young still. Charlie said, I would never be 30 and want to hang out with a 20-year-old. Rose _ Teresa 66 said, without doubt, they said J and A are young. Nick is nearly 40, but agree it's their situation. My word, why do we gotta round up that level? Because how old is Nicola? I think she's like 36, 37. There's so many more years before 40. But, but it does come fast. It does come fast. And she has made jokes about that. she joked about it in an interview where she's like, when I'm young and old, I mean, not when I'm young and old, when I'm old and gray, like in a few years, she joked. Karen T said, usually those age gaps are on different paths of life. K-Pat said, I don't know these people, but they seem very childish on social. Which one, K-Pat? Oh, you mean the adjacents? I really think that, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave my thoughts as inner thoughts. Karen T said, see, I saw a necklace on Luke. Kathy said, agree with you about the age gap. It's where the age gap is. They're in total different stage of life. K-Pet says, yes, that isn't you. Nikki said, it's the feelings I don't see with A and J. N and L are so adoring with each other. Edie said, I'm going on about the LN medallion because I read a fanfic back in May that I suspected Nick for Quietly Yours on A03. Read Real and Too Close. Spoke of this medallion and had never seen it till yesterday. I'm guessing is what you were trying to type there. Zigzag underscore Elf, she's 37. Rose underscore Teresa 66 said 38. Queen of Stone Castle says she will be 38 in January. Thank you, Ronnie, for the daily heart me. Edie said author is Nikki Champ. Retired teacher said 37. Okay, so people are, 37, 38. That's almost 38. Okay. Edie said fic wasn't finished, but had so many timeline items. Kathy said she'll be 38 really soon, still young. User with a lot of numbers right behind it. User with a lot of numbers right behind it said, I don't understand comments about Luke's behavior. What behavior? LOL, he's done nothing. I'm assuming, well, actually, now when I'm seeing Philly M's response to you, I'm like, maybe I don't know what people were talking about Luke's behavior. So I don't know. I guess I'm not the right person to answer that question because I thought I had a thought until I saw Philly M's answer and I was like, oh, maybe people were talking about something else. Hey, Ronnie. Sarah Brooks says, I'm so devo. Like devastated? Is that what that means, Sarah? Kim says someone made a list of other celebrities with big age gaps. It's very prevalent in Hollywood. And I mean, Kim, like, at the same time, like I said earlier, like, my issue has never been an age gap. It's always personally been, like, where it is. And anything before the age of 25 is very hard for me to swallow. At the same time, like I said, that is my own personal compass. And that's my own personal compass can only direct me. It can't, like, I can't impose it on other people. I can have opinions about it. But at the end of the day, like, I try to respect people's decisions as long as people are consenting adults, even if I feel a type of way. Because at the end of the day, I still don't know their dynamics. I don't know their relationships. But part of the thing that always informs me is because I used to work with kids, right? And so I know that they actually don't think that you're still in your adolescent stage until the age of 25. So, which I know some people, like, it's mind-blowing to think about because it's mid-20s. Why would that be still an adolescent? But, like, that's how they view how long adolescence lasts. Retired teacher says, I agree. I've never understood when people say things about Luke's behavior. What behavior? Philly M says, share your thoughts too, Phoebe. I just know that was said in my neck of the woods. Well, no, I just didn't know what people were saying because about Luke's behaviors, because I don't know what that means. So I guess I was like, I thought I knew, like, and I guess my assumption was like people were talking about the premiere, but then I'm like, well, when I read your answer, I was like, maybe that's not what they were talking about. Philly M said, but that varies too. Nikki said, I don't think Luke did anything wrong. I don't think Luke did anything wrong. I do think a lot of the things that caused a lot of the conversations were things outside of Luke. Elichada said he's behaving exactly how others in late 20s, early 30s should behave. Not odd at all. let's see her. Karen T said, and even after 25, immaturity. Diana said, look how many movies are coming out this year with older women and young men. Crazy. It's actually, I've noticed that, Diana. And then even that quote from even that new movie, Baby Girl, with Nicole Kidman. And then I feel like and then there was the one with Anne Hathaway, that movie. I feel like I have seen like promos or movies, at least I think 3. Kim Walton said, so when is he 25? So, he is closer to the age range where it's like, and it's, again, it's hard. Like, I'm just being honest about my own feelings around that because of, like, where I stand on it. But it's not a judgment at the end of Luke or Nicola because, again, grown adults can make their own decisions. Colorado girl said maybe not behavior, more like his choices. Ronnie followed the live creator. What do you mean you just followed me? What happened? Did you unfollow me originally, Ronnie? What happened? How are you following me right now? Rose_Teresa66 says when she's 40, he'll be 26, but it is down to the individuals. Retired teacher said what choices? Philly M said, oh yeah, people did originally think he had something to do with the premiere launch. User with a lot of numbers right behind it said he is a good egg. He's literally done nothing wrong other than have a girlfriend, LOL. Kathy said, I'm happy if she's happy, but I would think and would pick someone more at her level and established. Jan says that's the one they saw in NYC. M said, I'm just glad he's a mature 24-year-old. Our girl is getting her back broken. Oh, Lordy M. We don't know, but again, don't know. But amused by it. Zigzag_L said he turns 25 early next year. Karen said, I'd rather like how stealth Luke has been. It will be good to see Luke in future projects and whenever. Ronnie said, what? LOL. It said on my screen that Ronnie followed the live creator. And I was like, wait, why? Weren't you always following me? Unless it's just telling me that and it's not actually accurate. YOLO0056, a lot of growing up happens in your 20s. Very true. I've had even conversation with my niece when she thinks about her choices before the age of 25. She's like, who she was before the age of 25, like she's like shooketh, So I'm like, it's never a down statement to somebody. It's just a lot changes. It's a big life-changing time frame. It just is. And it doesn't mean that it can't work or it never works. Of course, we've had situations where it does, but I'm just saying, it's less likely to feel like a long-term thing. It could be, but I Nikki said, I just want the best from them. They are 2 great people. I think they would be a great couple. User with a lot of numbers right behind it says he's proven he is private. I have a hard time believing he had anything to do with getting papped. I've always had a hard time believing he did as well, only because he looked visibly upset that day, and because they didn't choose to show the last photo of him choosing to walk into that building not holding her hand, and the fact that you never had a clear handhold. It was the dead fish hands. So I always never felt like those photos were his idea. Kim Walton said she looks happy with him. Ronnie said this app is ridiculous. So I guess you didn't just follow me. Okay, that's good to know. Tam Spin said, if N and J are just friends and I was dating one of them, I wouldn't want them holding each other like that. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, that's why I'm saying that for me, I lean that there's a relationship of some sort going on, because I don't interlock fingers with friends. I just don't. And also, I really am surprised because she is I really thought she was part of the baby hand community, but she was she looked comfortable doing it. And I was like, maybe his hands are not that big. Because how is her hands not hurting after a while, you know? Like, I wonder how long she was interlocking, because it's like, it's so much work to interlock with people with big hands. When you're a part of the baby hand community, such as I. Kathy says, I can't wait to see what Luke is going to do next. He deserves all good things. H. Manley said, I still can't get over how sad she looked in pictures. Okay. And so, I'm just trying to get the polls again from the group. Kim Walton said, in the end, if they are both happy, that's all that should matter. Okay, let me do a poll. To feel the pulse of the group. I don't know what the right question is. Maybe it's not going to be the right question, but okay. Let's just say, how are you feeling? If you are okay, put the smiley face. If you're having a hard time with the new information, put the crying face. All right. And while that poll is going on, Elichata said, agree, part of that community, they do hurt. I know, right? I'm like, how does she interlock for, I mean, like, they must not have interlocked for too long, because, my word, that's work. Edie said, did she interlock with JVN's husband? I have no idea who his husband, JVN's husband is. So I don't know. YOLO0056 said, why does Nick keep untagging herself in these photos, yet she leaves tags on raunchy Nicola edits? I mean, one, I don't know. And also, do we know she's the one untagging? Maybe other folks are untagging? Not quite sure. I never know how people can tell who's untagging, if it's the source or if it's the person getting tagged. Okay, so it's kind of an even split. 26 are doing just fine. 18 are having a difficult time. And then the rest that are watching that didn't vote may be indifferent to it all. Zigzag_Elf said, there are pics of me. There are pics of you? What do you mean? Zigzag. I think I'm missing context. Priscilla Patlin said, where are these Pat pictures? Are you talking about the most recent photos of Nicola and JD? Look at the tagged portions of JD's page, or Nicola's maybe, because I don't want to refer you to the gossip rag that originally posted it, because Lord knows we don't want to promote them. Zigzag_Elf said, there are pics of me and friends interlocking fingers. Oh. Okay, let's see here. Where are things at? Annie Ham said, becoming resigned to it. Ren Fair Mistress said, what's the poll just got here? Sorry, I missed that question, Ren Fair Mistress. But I was just asking folks to choose an emoji to describe how they were feeling about the situation. If they were fine with it, to put the smiley face, or if they were having a difficult time with it, to put the crying face. Rose_Teresa66 has an emoji with a tear coming down, but not because L and L not together. What's the reason for the tear? Rose_Teresa66. Kim Walton said she was very committed with the interlock. Yeah, she did. She looked very committed, and I'm like, dang, okay. The Greenberg Brigade said she isn't untagging herself. They moved down as she is tagged in more things. Kim Walton said, I think she has a team for social media. And the Greenberg Brigade said, and the original posters may be deleting posts too. Kathy said, interesting that N is out and about with Jay when she's never been public with anyone before. Here's the thing. Is it the fact that she's never been? Or is it the fact that there's increased interest where there is more motivation to get those photos? She's always been private, but she was also not as high visibility in the industry, so she could go out and about and nobody would be interested in taking her photo, because it wasn't going to garner that much money or that much interest. But now there's so much interest behind her. I think that that's what has caused a lot of that. Priscilla said, yes, the most recent. Yeah. There's accounts here on TikTok. You could just probably like Google. I mean, not Google. You can put Nicola JD or something. I'm guessing, but I don't want to direct you to the original one. But it's that platform or that gossip rag that Nicola is not a fan of, because they've been known to post misinformation on her. Tam Spin said there's still a bunch of the pics on Nick's IG. YOLO0056 said whoever's untagging them, it has to be approved by Nick, right? I don't think, does untagging require approval? I think tagging requires approval, unless they allow free approvals, which they must allow free approvals. I don't know how that works. Somebody who's on IG probably knows way better. Renfair Mistress said, I'm sad but remain hopeful. Luke is Endgame. I truly believe that. Kim Walton said, I'm okay with it. I love Nick, and if she's happy, I'm happy. Rose _ Teresa 66 said, only a tear because the roller coaster is exhausting. Edie said increased interest. The Greenberg Brigade said definitely just more people taking pics. Elichada said increased interest. Zigzag _ Alf said she wasn't so high profile before. Edie said if she were currently with Luke, they would have been papped. Kim Walton said in a podcast interview, she lived with a boyfriend for 2 years, I think 2020. Rose _ Teresa 66 said, agree with you, Phoebe. The paps are primed. Karen T said that those pictures are all over that other platform that I also don't typically endorse. M says, anyone ever wonder why L and N are best friends but have never been seen in public, like even once? I mean, well, we do know they were, right? Because there's that famous picture that everyone went wild on. I have no real good answer for that. I mean, one, I will say that Nicola is best friends with many people. There's a lot of folks that she considers her best friends. But I do think that in interviews and in things that they've said, you can tell that they have spent time with each other outside of outside of Bridgerton. Because they've just mentioned things casually in interviews. But I think with the high scrutiny of everything and people like getting so excited for any pictures, I think they're more likely to not be seen in public. But I don't know. But one thing I don't question is the legitimacy of their friendship, because I think sometimes people are like, if we don't see it, if it doesn't get pictured, did it happen? And the answer is yes. Ronnie said depends on the setting. Jan said her PR team would be untagging for her if that's what she wants. Kim Walton says she's just a private person. Annie Ham said it will be a relief to know one way or another. Hello, Isabella Marie. Zigzag _ Alf said, what famous picture? Oh, I have no idea. Did I miss something about a famous picture? Ronnie said, night, guys. Night, Ronnie. Diana said, I think they are work besties. You have your work besties. Tam Spin says, there's one pic that definitely looks like couple. Her arms around him and kind of holding on to... Why did it stop again? Oh, the bottom of his shirt near his bottom. Yeah, that was like... Yeah, that was an intimate... To me, that's an intimate touch. I mean, there's multiple pictures where I would be like, I just wouldn't... I mean, I get that other people might do that with their friends. I personally wouldn't, and I think that's what colors my interpretation of those pictures. Now, other people, they might be like, I totally would, and that's why they would think that is friend level, because they're like, I totally would do that with my friends. Because I wouldn't, I think that's why I tend to go, that feels more intimate to me. That's why I think people have very different lines about their assumptions of what is considered a friend touch versus a romantic touch. And and that affects how people view a photo. But for me personally, I'm like, some of these photos, I'm just thinking, if that was Luke, we'd all be rejoicing, but it's not Luke. And so I'm saying, if that was Luke, the assumption would be, here's proof that they're dating. But because it's not Luke, I think people are having a hard time considering that's a viable option. But I'm more apt to lean that way because that's just how I see those photos. I just feel like it's too intimate for me personally to just be friends. Tam Spin said, there's one pic. Oh, wait, no, I read that right now. Okay, Edie said, yeah, like him being at her family's Christmas gathering. Yeah, that's one that I always think about that, people have brought up to me in the past. Nikki said, like meeting their parents. Edie said, oh, the Brazil one. Edie said, wonder if they were trying to hide something. Rose _ Teresa 66 says that photo from the back seals the deal for me. Ronnie said, please follow this backup TikTok. Thanks. Wait, what? What do you mean? Please follow this backup TikTok. Thanks. What do you mean backup TikTok? Did you get did someone get into your TikTok, Ronnie? Because what in the world? I don't know what is happening. Renfair Mistress said, I'm Nicola shipper, but these last pictures looked intimate to me. Couple. Vanessa said, maybe she's in her Lord Dabbling era. LOL. Definitely, I think she could possibly be. Karen T said, I have thought too that maybe L and N wouldn't get involved with each other while they are working. Ronnie said, Phoebe, that was my backup account that followed you. I have someone else managing it right now. SMH. LOL. Wait, why do you need a backup account? What happened? Is it because TikTok is being odd? Oh my word. TikTok's been strange with you, Ronnie. I don't know why. M said homeboy went to MARTA, NYC London with her. Oh well, jumping off Nicola. Jan said, some of us are thinking these photos are about 5 weeks old. Leaves are on the trees and grass is green. SMAR31 says, hi. Zigzag _ Alf said, dabbling in the doubling era. Ronnie said, I'll DM you. Okay, sounds good, Ronnie. SMAR31 said, just got here. Catch me up, please. Oh, SMAR31. I'll try to put this up on YouTube, but it's just really more so the back and forth around the pictures and what people are feeling and thinking about the pictures. And what people are willing to consider. So my personal take on it is it doesn't look like just friends to me. It does feel intimate to me. Based off of my own, way of interpreting it is based off of what I would be willing to do with friends. Now, other people may think that it's still friend level because their lines of what friends do or how intimate friends touch is different than mine. And just because, that I'm just sharing my interpretation, recognizing that other folks may have different interpretations about it, because at the end of the day, we still don't know the stories behind these photos. So there's 1,000,001 reasons why these photos exist. What is happening in these photos that we actually don't know, but people tend to fill in the blanks for themselves based off of their own personal experiences or their thoughts around things. But the biggest thing that I always go by is the fact that nobody actually stinking knows anything. Even if I feel like it looks like this, I still don't know jack squat. You know what I mean? Ton Ben Sink said, I thought about N and L not wanting to date while filming also. Genevieve Wren said, I have best friends that I rarely see. Not seen hanging out doesn't mean they aren't friends. You know what, Genevieve? That's actually the greatest answer. My best friend and I barely see each other, but I still call her my best friend because we are best friends and we pick it up like nothing has passed. So, but not everybody's best friends are people that they see constantly. It's just, she's my best friend because our connection is that strong. Like my closest friends, some of my closest friends I never got to see very often. I mean, Chad is like my friend Chad. He was like, amazing because I saw him all the time. He was in my life all the time, right? But there's other people I called my best friends as well that I barely saw. And if anybody questioned whether we were best friends or not, simply because we didn't see each other, I'd battle them because they literally are that close to me and that meaningful to me. And so everybody has a different kind of relationships with their best friends. There's different kinds of best friends, Vanessa said, I think they have been together for nearly a year. Ida Pita said, okay, we have leaves on our trees right now in USA, in the Midwest, when it's supposed to be cold, but it's not. Ronnie said, follow backup account. Thank you. Queen of Stone Castle said, I interpreted the last few weeks they traveled together to NYC and now this. It appears they are together. Emma Push said, it does seem like more than friends to me. Genevieve said, for sure the photos show intimacy, closeness. Labels are something only they know. M said, are people waiting to see his tongue down her throat to believe the pics? LOL. I had actually joked earlier on that even if people saw something like that, there would always be, if people are not ready to accept it, there would be like, the joke that I made earlier on is that people would have said that she accidentally tripped, and because he's such a good friend, he allowed her to fall on his lips so that she could not hit the pavement with her face. Like there would always be a reason why it's not happening for folks if they're not ready to potentially make that an option that she's dating him. And the honest to goodness truth is, like, I don't know if she's dating him, right? All I'm saying is based off of the things that I'm seeing that I lean that way. Do I want that to be the case? Of course not. As a Nicola shipper, I would like her to be with Luke. But I'm also an Endgame Nicola shipper. So to me, this does not concern me if she happens to be dating somebody right now, because again, to me, this is not the end of a book. If we were to put life as a book, it's just part of the story until she actually makes a decision on who she wants to spend the rest of her life with. And just because she might be dating somebody in the moment does not mean that that's endgame for her. I've seen it many a times that it's not. Kim said, I think Nicola's enjoying herself as she should. Looks like a relationship to me too. Nikki said they are dating. YOLO0056. They PR'd too close to the sun and we got burned. I think is disingenuous. What do you think is disingenuous? Because I don't think Luke and Nicola are disingenuous in their interactions with each other. I do think that, I mean, that's personally for me. I think people got invested a lot, but there is a place where it's like them just living their lives, and then we have to also take personal responsibility and accountability at how much we chose to read into things that may or may not have been anything that they were trying to give us. But I don't think their interactions with each other during the PR tour was disingenuous. I do believe that is just how they engage with each other. And the reason I even say that is because so many interviewers said that even behind the scenes, their dynamic was the same. So, and whenever they had like work videos, those were the muted ones. The ones where they were allowed to just be themselves with each other, those were the most unhinged ones. SMAR31 said, wait, is this really Ronnie and her backup account? Ronnie said it is, but I'm waiting for that DM. Isabella Marie with the laughing. The Greenberg Brigade said they would say she looked unhappy kissing him if they did kiss. Actually, Greenberg Brigade, you're not wrong. People have said that, like the idea of unhappiness. Yeah. So I mean, I actually could hear people potentially saying that. And again, as I'm saying this, I want people who may be likely to say that to understand it's not. I understand if people do land that way. I do think that it is hard sometimes, again, as I've said in the past, it is hard to consider something that you're not ready to consider as a possibility. I always, again, one of the biggest things I say is that you gotta leave this. I choose to leave space to be wrong. So even though I do tend to lean to go, I think this looks like they're a couple. I could be wrong. And I'm more than happy to be wrong on that. But I'm not willing to not consider that as a possibility based off of what we're seeing. M said fall on his lips with laughing emojis. Sue with a laughing emoji. Jan said it's just confusing because we have seen him with his boyfriend. Wait, what? I shouldn't have read that out loud because Jan, I don't think we know anything about his relationship status with anybody in the past. I think here's the thing. What people see on social media and what people think is the situation, you know, I don't like to get into it when they've never said anything one way or the other. And as a reminder, there are other options where Nicola is still on the table. That even if what you thought you saw with another individual was real or is real or whatever, does not mean that there aren't options available that allows Nicola to still be a possibility for him. Kim Walton said, I think people are in shock, but I think people need to be at least open to it. Emma Push says he has his situation so she can have fun too. Lacey said, same Phoebe, she's just more stepping stones closer. Wait, she's saying Phoebe, she's just more stepping stones closer to her and Luke's epiphany, LOL. She's just more stepping stones closer to her. What's that mean? She's just more stepping stones closer to her and Luke's epiphany, LOL. I'm not sure I know for sure what you're saying there, Lacey. I apologize. I'm trying to wrap it around my brain. Genevieve says, I think letting people believe they might be together was a choice, but think their dynamic is real. Kim Walton said, perfectly said, Phoebe. CJ said, I wasn't ready for this photo. I still ships Nicola. Emma Push says she wouldn't be risking being with so much if she didn't like him a fair amount. She wouldn't be risking being with him so much if she didn't like him a fair amount. I mean, same could have been said for Luke, right? Like, I mean, and it makes me sad, Emma Push, that there is this concept of it's risking something. Like, that is really sad to me because they're literally just trying to live life and have relationships with people, potentially, because I don't know, there's no confirmation verbally, potentially with people. I mean, and to have like, to feel like your career, like people think it's risking things or something just to live and potentially fall in love or like someone or, it makes me so sad. I hear you. I hear you because it's true, because we've seen the backlash that potentially can sometimes happen when people are not happy with people's decisions. But it is still sad to me that just a normal course of living life would cause such upheaval because people outside of them disagree with their choices. If it's even their choice, which I don't even know. Again, I don't know anything. And that's what I will always come down to. I don't know anything. I will tell you what I think I see and how I interpret it, but I will always tell you that I actually don't know at the end of the day if what I'm seeing is, or how I'm interpreting what I'm seeing is correct. Because somebody can sometimes come back with another option and I'm like, oh, I didn't consider that. That might be true. YOLO0056 said they definitely played it up because their partners cannot possibly be comfortable with this. Oh, okay. Okay, I know, I get what you're saying now, YOLO. You're saying because the promo tour was still happening and you're thinking that the relationships with these individuals were happening during the promo tour. I mean, technically, they still never did anything. I mean, there was never anything fully inappropriate in the PR tour. I just think that they were incredibly close. But I'm trying to think, was there anything wholly inappropriate? How would I feel about it? I feel like they were still professional, if I can say professional. Um, I know I have to sit with that, YOLO, because I'm like, could you have been in a relationship and engaged in the way they did? Okay, yeah, I'll have to sit with that. And again, we don't even know if they were in relationships with these individuals. I know the assumptions is for Luke at least, that there was some time prior to the promo tour, but you just like don't know what level of commitment there was. It's like you don't necessarily feel like, sometimes you're just dating but it's not serious. So I mean, it's hard to say, because you're just like, who has the right to say that they have to say something or do something if it's not a serious relationship yet at that point? I'm not sure. 4KNK said acceptance takes time to reach as part of the grief process. SMAR31 said, where are these pics? I think you can find some of them tagged still on Nicola's IG. I'm just trying not to send you to that gossip rag that originally posted it. CJ said, I think he's dabbled. Kim Walton said, yes, people can be bi. And also a pan, Kim. So, I mean, there's multiple possibilities for why Nicola's not necessarily off the table as a possibility. So Rose underscore Teresa 66 said, correct, Phoebe. Zigzag underscore out. Interesting choice of words, Nicola on the table. It better be able to take an intimacy scene. I do need to probably choose a different choice of words, but I just didn't know what it is. But I crack up as with that. Queen of Stone Castle said there has never been a confirmation about his sexuality, or his preference. Yeah, there has never been. There has never been, and so, Camille said, who knows what is real? Nothing confirmed, not our decision. Rose underscore Teresa 66 said possible N and L was a possibility, but they missed their moment. Or they haven't missed their moment. Maybe their moment has not come yet. And I think that's so hard for folks to consider. But as an Endgame person, I'm like, there are so many stories of people who dated people and then and they just never considered each other, or they had considered each other, but they thought like it's too big of a risk right now to pursue that, and they don't. So it's so many possibilities, to be honest. So that's just why I'm like, I don't know if they've missed their moment. I don't think they have. Bones said, it's sad to me too. I just don't get all the hate. Emma Push said, I just mean being in public. The Greenberg Brigade said, I honestly don't think Nick or Luke are affected by what we think for the most part. I do agree with that. I will say this. I don't think that they care if they are not reading things on their pages, right? So that's why I'm like, I am pro like having these conversations in these spaces. But when people actively bring internal conversation to their pages and make them aware of it, my question to them is why? Because I think it's fine to kind of unpack things within a context of a community. But what I will never understand is the mentality that people have of saying, I'm protecting Luke and Nicola by exposing them to things that they would never actually see and telling them it exists. Like, how is that protecting them? To expose them to things that they would not naturally see, but you're bringing it to their attention. I've never understood that kind of mentality. Bone said they are still publicly single, or were. M said, as a Capricorn, I think Jay played his cards hard because we stubborn. He wore her down, persistent. Bone said maybe they weren't serious during the press tour. I don't know how serious, the relationship was or is, or if there is even one. I mean, I'm assuming things, like there's assumptions around there, Kim Walton said, yes, they never kissed each other or anything as far as we know on the press tour. Yeah. Kim said, true. Thanks for the correction, Phoebe. Rose _ Teresa 66 says, the table that LNN made. Lacey said, I truly think they have considered, but with their roles is too big of a risk. Sandy said, I feel the time together spent filming could cause an LNN resurgence. Genevieve said they should be allowed to explore feelings, relationships without having to publicly label it for us. Kim said we don't even know them, like Nicola said. 100%. And that's another thing, like, when people are like, well, we're not strangers to you. And I'm like, but you are. We are. Like, they don't know us from Adam. We may feel like we know them through their work, but at the end of the day, we don't know them. They don't know us. I know it's sometimes a hard pill to swallow, but it's just the reality of it. As Tanae said, having no public label for people you don't even know does not equal private label. Wait, having no public label for people you don't even know does not equal private label. I think I understand what that means. But can you write that? I'm not sure if you'd be willing to rewrite that sentence one more time, because I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm not positive that I'm not misunderstanding it. M said, why do people have to tag them in pap pics? The stupidity of the human race. I don't know why. I don't know why people tag them in pap pics. I will say that. Because she has already explicitly stated she does not like those things. As Tanae said, exactly. They don't have to inform us. YOLO0056 says, what does publicly single even mean? Imagine your partner saying they were publicly single. I mean, that statement, which I found hilarious, was from an Elle magazine. That's a phrase provided by the author. So that's not a quote from anybody except the author was writing it, saying, hey, as far as Luke and Nicola are concerned, they have never chosen to publicly say they're with other people, or they're with anybody. Now, that's, I think, also a way to say privately they might be in relationships with other people, or whatever. No relationships are not, like, basically they're not making any assumptions of what their status is privately, but they're saying publicly they're choosing to just show up as single people. They're not providing a direct quote saying I'm with this person or I'm with that person or we're with each other. They've made no statement of any sort. They're just publicly single. Astane said, I mean, they don't have to inform us on the label they give their relationships. We're strangers. They could label things. They could have labels privately. 100%. And that's what that Elle magazine was just saying when they said publicly single, is that they haven't said publicly, but we don't know what it is privately. Astane said, we're not privy to that. 100%. 4K NK said, publicly single me to the fans. It's none of your business. Yeah. Astane said, yeah, that's not a quote from them. LOL. It means their teams have not given any confirmation. 100%. Yeah. Genevieve says they're just saying they have made no public announcement or confirmation of a relationship status. Shame.Spiral said, I thought we were normalizing not giving credence to DM and these pap pics. So which is it? That's the conversation I had briefly asked Shame.Spiral of, like, are people, like, what are we doing, right? In essence, right? Because we are still talking about this, and the reason we are talking about it is we saw it, and now I didn't see it in that from that publication because I don't, or I guess gossip rag or whatever whatever you call them. But I did happen to see it, and I was like, oh. And then I saw a bunch of photos. I saw it all on TikTok, but that question again of like when Nicola already verbalized that she does not like these things happening, and yet here we are. The minute we see it, it's like, well, I saw it. Like I can't unsee something I saw that I wasn't looking for. Ellie Chada said, now I'm thinking about the friend questions and Luke is grinning while Nick was answering. He knew. Now I'm thinking about the friend questions and Luke is grinning while Nick was answering. He knew. Which one was that? Is that the one in Italy? Shallots for Life said, publicly single is how you turn no info into a story for a publication. LOL. Good morning, Chantel. Kim Walton said, in my opinion, Nick wants us to focus on her professional work career, not her private life. Maybe that's why nothing has been released from either party. Oh, yeah, I hear you, Kim. And yet, you know what's so sad? Sometimes I do wonder if just a formal statement would make people focus more on her work. I don't know if it would. That's why maybe it's not worth her doing it but sometimes I wonder. Rose underscore Teresa 66 says, you can't unsee it. Shame.Spiral said, once again, a bunch of us share it. It's just frustrating. I saw it first from a well-known creator. Yeah, I had seen it. Yeah, I had seen it on TikTok first. Well, and only because well, that's not true. Then I saw it on Nicola's tagged photos, which again, someone else said it earlier, but I don't understand tagging her on those photos when she's already explicitly stated she's not into that. Shame.Spiral said, and here I'm participating. I'm disappointed in myself. LOL. I mean, it's the reality. It is the friction. It is the rub, Shame.Spiral, right? It is the rub. Because to some degree, like when it happens, when we see something that we weren't looking for, but we see it and we can't unsee it, then there is that desire for folks to be able to unpack how that feels for them because they weren't asking for it, but here it is. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm not spending my time looking at it. I saw it. I didn't like zoom in and analyze every little nook and cranny because I wasn't even looking for it, and bam, here it is. But then at the same time, I'm like, is that true? Because when I did see it and there was like multiple photos, I didn't just slide past the first one. I did look at the other 5 photos or whatever they showed. So I'm, is that like I'm a hypocrite in my own right? Where it's that like push and pull of like not wanting to fall into it and yet falling into it and like, like, so yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. Like I'm amazed at how much I hadn't seen of, like when I made a decision not to see stuff from adjacent stuff. It was amazing how easy I could avoid it. But with this one, it feels like I've seen way more with this particular adjacent than Luke's adjacent. But I made decision to like block certain things on that side. So that's why I think too. Ella Chada said, there are several interviews where they get asked about friends to lovers, and she says she'd have to ask the friend group. Yeah, and see, let's think about the framing, right? Like when I first heard that, I was assuming the Bridgerton like friend group, right? Like the Bridgerton cast. And then now it's like, oh, this is why I'm saying like the framing of how we view like a statement changes based on new information. So if we're thinking this is about Luke, then we're going, oh, this friend group is about the Bridgerton cast. But if we're thinking, oh, maybe he knew it was about Jake, then it's like, oh, she literally meant her friend group. But then Luke also said, I think in that same interview, like wanting to make sure that all of us are going to be okay. Or that if the communication lines there's certain things that made it feel like it was about the two of them. Some of their gestures, they're like when you're not thinking about the gestures you're making, So I don't know. Chantal said, I think a statement would take the guessing out of all of it. We wouldn't overanalyze everything. Rose_Teresa66 says the PR tour was genius, but had unsuspected outcomes. They did tease more than a friendship. Here's the thing. Shame.Spiral said, have a good night, you guys. Have a good night, Shame.Spiral. But the PR tour was genius, but had unsuspected outcomes. They did tease more than a friendship. But did they? I mean, here's the thing. They consistently said friendship all throughout the whole thing. And there were folks that did not think that they teased more than a friendship. So I guess my question is like, was it a given that that's what they did? Or was that also a matter of perception? Because why were there segments of folks that just did not pick that up in the same way? Shouts for Life said if they post the pics and tag her, they aren't real fan of hers, even if they say they love her. Genevieve says tagging her is another level. It's one thing to look at it or discuss it, but no need to tag her. M said, the reality is I am boring, so this keeps me on board. Hashtag Nosy Brigade. Kim said, I think I will be focused on Pollen for now and Nick and Luke's professional career projects. Johari said, luckily Phoebe has been teaching from day one to only look at the end game. LOL. I mean, Johari, that is the only reason I have not been caught up in a roller coaster. Because this kind of stuff happens. In the course of getting to Endgame, you have people date other, because they're not going to be like sitting around twiddling their thumbs waiting for each other, like, and not pursuing anything else until like the time is there, like you're growing as a person, you're doing things, you're living life. Like this stuff happens, but it doesn't mean Endgame is not still on the table. The Greenberg Brigade said probably referring to their individual relationships with people in their separate friend groups. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like it changes like how we hear interviews and perceive things when new information comes to light. Nikki said agree about the PR. Celeste said it was us that read more into it, unfortunately. Edie said, but why not? Pin away. Wait, what? Pin away? Wait, what did I miss? Celeste says, but hoping they are Endgame. Ronnie said, please follow. Ronnie, here's the thing, Ronnie. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm starting to get concerned that it's not you, because this doesn't feel like you. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel like you got hacked, Ronnie. I'm feeling like you got hacked. So give me a sign that shows me that you did not get hacked, Ronnie. Because it just doesn't sound like you. So DM me something that shows me that this is Ronnie. Because I'm starting to wonder, because Ronnie's not incessant like this. Like, not naturally. So, I mean, and it's going to be funny if it really is you, Ronnie, but it just doesn't feel like you. That's all I'm saying. Johari said they may have a deal of not acting on it until after they leave Bridgerton, because they may have a deal of not acting on it until after they leave Bridgerton, because they don't want to make it awkward if it goes sour. Like a deal with each other. Kim said, I think they aren't ready yet. I can't wait. In the meantime, Pollen and future projects for them both. Edie said, pin away like pining on, being in love with. Okay. Lacey said, I think Ronnie is hacked as well. Karen T said, no, she didn't. Johari said, Ronnie, tell me what people call you a lot, because we talked about it on Discord and DMs. Kim Walton said, same about Ronnie. Rose_Teresa66 says, no, they teased being together, just flirting, didn't confirm anything, but it teased. Helped sell. Ida Pita said, Ronnie has had a day. Isabella Marie said, Ronnie, did you get hacked? The Greenberg Brigade said, Ronnie said she had someone else running her backup account. Here's the thing. Like, Ronnie said she was going to sleep. Next thing I know, there's a backup account and another account saying, like here, Ronnie is not going to do, Ronnie doesn't do that. Like, I mean, I have a hard time feeling like it's Ronnie because Ronnie is not an incessant person. Like, she's not going to beg people to follow her. She just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like her. So I feel like I need to reach out to her and be like, no, really, give me a sign that this is you, because it just doesn't operate like Ronnie. YOLO0056 says, I think back to post from Ryan video guy, makeup artist, and choreo guy. It was all wink, wink, sigh. The Greenberg Brigade said, Ronnie says she will message you. Yes. And even when this person messages me, if it is really Ronnie, I might message Ronnie in a different fashion as well, because I'm not sold. The earlier Ronnie sounded like Ronnie to me. When I was like, why did you just follow me, Ronnie? And she's like, what are you talking about? And then she's talking about how TikTok hates her. That sounded like Ronnie to me. But like, please follow me or like do this. It's like, Ronnie's not that incessant. And I'm sorry again if it does turn out to be Ronnie, but it just doesn't feel like Ronnie. YOLO0056 said they definitely fed the Delulu. Shallots for Life said all of us are speculating and making assumptions with this too. We still don't know. Rose_Teresa66 said agree. Ronnie said good night. Isabella Marie said gas. It's not Ronnie. She went to bed. That's what she said. Right, Walton. Right sounds strange. Genevieve says, do you have a way to reach out to Ronnie a different way? I agree, it's weird. Yeah, I do. And that's why I'm like, yeah. Shallots for Life said Ronnie made a video 22 minutes ago about a backup account. Did we see Ronnie in the video about the backup account? The Greenberg Brigade said it's not Ronnie. She said it is someone else running her backup account. I mean, I heard that, Greenberg Brigade, but it's the timing for me. Ronnie goes to sleep. Then suddenly I have this Ronnie backup saying, please follow. And then another Ronnie saying, like, yeah, please follow in this. And this is somebody else is running it. Right after Ronnie just told us she's going to sleep. So, like, it was just a weird timing for me. Karen T says something happened on live. She has someone else building back up her following so she can go live. Karen T said tomorrow for her OMG event. Okay, Shallots for Life says, yes, Ronnie is on screen talking in the video. Okay, the Greenberg Brigade said, no, the backup was in here when the real Ronnie was. I saw them. Okay, if it's really Ronnie, it's just because I get nervous. Because I'm like, why would Ronnie be talking like that? It doesn't feel like it. Zigzag_Elf said, Phoebe's okay. Ronnie said she's asked the person not to repeat the follow request. It's all good. Okay. Because I just was like, this is so weird. It really threw me off. Because I'm like, because I just know what happens, you know, when somebody comes in and takes somebody's account. Kiki D said the account is now private. Karen T said, yes, she has a friend working on her backup account. Genevieve says, you're right to be nervous, though. Better safe than sorry. Yeah. I'm gonna... Nikki said, good night, all. I still love you, king and queen. Kim Walton said, I don't think Nick will come out and say who she's dating. She wants us to focus on her work. And the hard part, Kim, is like, I don't know if it's gonna make people focus on her work. I think people, if they're committed to not getting focused on her work, will just get distracted by it anyway. Em said, I just want more pollen scenes on the floor, kitchen, dog park, and a lot of my wifing. Okay. Y'all, I do want to, like, probably just end this, because I do want to investigate the whole Ronnie thing and just want to make sure. Karen T said, I was on the live. TT is not her friend today. Okay. Tam Spin said, it's her. Okay. Okay, good night, Linnell. I'll just check the message that Ronnie gave me, because I'm like, I got thrown off by that, really. Okay. All right, have a good one. Oh, Rena said, I'm at Disneyland. Can you please post this live? I always miss the good stuff. Okay, bye. Bye, Rena. Good night, M. Okay, Tamspin said I DM'd her. Okay, well, have a good night, y'all. Bye.